This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. Even on a Freeform Friday, it fucking does not matter who the host is. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Today is Friday, July the 18th of 2025, day 199th of the year, and only 166 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, that's where we're at, doing our stuff, hanging out, doing all kinds of fun stuff on this Freeform Friday. So let's talk real quick. Hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. I have to tell you, last night I was kind of in shock reading the Colbert news of what's going on. So if you're not aware, the Late Show is going bye-bye. Not host being replaced. The whole show is leaving Paramount Plus, Paramount, CBS, whatever the hell you want to call it. Kind of shocking news there. Wonder if it had anything to do with the settlement that just recently occurred. But we can get into that stuff here in just a bit. So let's talk real quick. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. It's really the way that it goes. But on Freeform Friday, which is today, we talk a little bit about everything. What do I mean when I say that? Well, on today's show, I try to play catch up with everything that I was unable to do earlier in the week. So you get a lot more news today than what you get anything else. So we're going to just give you all kinds of news stories. And then if you want to interact with the show, super simple process on doing so. Callinradio.com will get you there. Callinradio.com will get you to the places where you want to be. Once you get there, audio, video, text messaging, once you get in there, will give you the option. You choose your path. Choose your own destiny. Yeah, it's almost like a reality-based system. You know, it's how you choose your system gameplay. Yeah, we can get into that at a later time. Okay. So if you're good with that, I'm good with that for sure. And we get moving and grooving. So let's do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because we should not overcomplicate the whole process. Let me tell you about what the hell was trending in the overnight, because that's going to be important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as if I take a look at the trends at the ends, notable and noteworthy, the planned state town faces a squirrely nuance. We'll talk about that here in just a bit. Also, let's see, the he said, she said has begun with Denise Richards and Aaron Vipers. We'll talk about that more in showbiz. Also, another movie prop sells for big bucks. We'll talk about that in casting calls. Also, Oprah Winfrey makes a big ducking deal. Yeah, ducking deal in Prince Harry and Meghan's success. So we'll talk about all that inside of the Royals. So if you're good to go, I'm good to go. I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News because they want to give you a feature, they want to give you a story, and they sure as shit want to give you some news. So let's go through that stuff because the time is now to do so.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Donald Trump's accusing the Wall Street Journal of fabricating a letter it says he wrote to paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The president says he will sue the paper, which published documents dating back to the early 2000s. The journal says one appears to feature a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman. President Trump, meanwhile, says he's ordered the U.S. Justice Department to produce additional documents related to the late financier. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is criticising a Wall Street Journal story suggesting the captain of the flight that crashed last month may have turned off the plane's fuel control switches. A preliminary report released last week found that seconds after takeoff, the plane's switches went from run to cut off, stalling the plane's ascent. All but one passenger on board the London-bound Air India flight died in the crash. Neha Punia reports from New Delhi.
The Indian agency that conducted the preliminary probe into last month's Air India crash has said the investigation is still underway. It's called the Wall Street Journal's reporting, quote, unverified and selective, saying it's too early to jump to conclusions. The Wall Street Journal, citing an assessment by US officials, is claiming that the black box recording indicated that the captain of the flight may have turned off the fuel control switches and that when fuel to the plane's engines was cut off, the captain sounded calm, but the first officer was panicking. Pilot bodies in India have also hit out at these claims, saying the preliminary report did not lay the blame on the pilots. Neha Punia, New Delhi.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is describing as heartbreaking the death of a child in a school coach crash in Somerset. 60 children and adults were travelling back from a school trip when it happened near Minehead, injuring many. Reporter Andy Ballantyne is there.
To give you an idea of the scale of the emergency, 20 double-crewed ambulances, 3 air ambulances, a command team and 2 hazardous response teams, 8 fire engines with 60 personnel were all sent to this area. 21 children and adults in total were taken to hospital, including 2 children who were taken to hospital via air ambulance.
More than 5,000 people in South Korea have been forced into shelters as heavy rain pounds parts of the country for a third day. At least 4 people have been killed, with authorities warning the unseasonal deluge will continue. Laura Westbrook reports.
Among those killed were 2 men in their 80s. Authorities believe one of them was trying to drain floodwaters from the basement of his home. A driver was also killed after a 10-metre-high roadside wall collapsed onto his car. More than 400 millimetres of rain poured down in just half a day in Seosan, the worst affected city along South Korea's west coast. The weather agency described it as a once-in-a-century event.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. India is praising the US designating the TRF group as a terrorist organisation, calling it a strong affirmation of India-US counter-terror ties. The Resistance Front has claimed responsibility for the terror attack in Kashmir that killed 26 civilians in April. Ishan Garg reports.
India's Minister of External Affairs has thanked the US for this step. An official statement from the ministry says the designation of TRF is a timely and important step reflecting the deep cooperation between India and the United States on counter-terrorism. It comes after the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced TRF's inclusion in foreign terrorist organization and specially designated global terrorist lists. He said it's part of President Donald Trump's commitment towards protecting national security interests and enforcing his calls for justice for the victims of the the terror attack. The April 22nd attack was the worst terror strike to hit India in the past 2 decades, and officials are still continuing their hunt for the perpetrators. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
Donald Trump's denying he plans to fire the head of the US central bank, Jerome Powell. The president's reportedly drafted a letter of termination for the Fed Reserve chairman, but he's walking back claims he was planning to let him go. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
US President Donald Trump has said it's highly unlikely he will fire the head of the US central bank. Stock markets and the dollar slipped on reports that he'd broached the idea with Republicans on Tuesday, but they quickly bounced back after he downplayed the discussions. It would be a major break with precedent for a president to dismiss the chair of the Federal Reserve. Mr. Trump's called on Mr. Powell to lower US interest rates in a series of highly critical outbursts. On Wednesday, the president called him a knucklehead and claimed he was doing a lousy job. Kate Fisher, Washington.
That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, definitely sounds like some risky business as we are hanging out 16 minutes past the top of the hour. Oh, yes, a lovely Freeform Friday, doing all of the fun stuff that we get to do. So let's talk real quick about some things that are going on inside of the world. Okay, so the town of Minot is what I believe it's called in North Dakota. Have you heard about this? Has a squirrel problem. And not like kind of a squirrel problem, like a super crazy squirrel problem is what it sounds like to me. So specifically, the Richardson's ground squirrel, a burrowing rodent known for digging excessive tunnels. Officials say that the population has grown significantly in the recent years. Now outnumbers the town 50,000 people, with the population growth turning prairie into subdivisions and commerce. The squirrels have stayed, but their natural predators have fled. The burrowing habit wrecks driveways, sidewalks, and lawns, and also creates tripping hazards, not to mention the threat of disease from fleas that they carry. In the meantime, businesses is good for pest control companies. One exterminator says that he kills about 5,000 squirrels a year. This is according to NBC. Could you imagine that? 5,000 squirrels a year you're taking out because you have a serious issue. It's kind of a crazy one when you start thinking about it. And if you're not on the, I guess if you want to see this is probably the better way that I should say this, is this is the size of this damn thing. It's not the smallest, but it's not the biggest one either when it comes to the squirrels aspect of things. But holy monkeys, I can't imagine killing 5,000 of anything, but there you go. That's in a year. So some terrible times is what it sounds like.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. Meanwhile, in Miami, American drug enforcement agents have recently busted up a fentanyl ring that also confiscated about $10 million worth of cryptocurrency held by the dealers. Interesting times there. Also, what would you say, what would you do here? American workers feel increasingly disconnected from their management, with 46% of their bosses don't understand what they constitute or constitute and contribute. Another 44% said that they've been passed over for career advancement because their work is misunderstood. Nearly half, 48%, say that they do more work than they get credit for. I kind of feel like this is the majority of people that say this, even though it says it's 44%. I remember I had a shithole boss that My ideas were terrible until he went into a meeting with other people. And then all of a sudden, my ideas were genius, and he took them as his own. That's okay, it happens. Needless to say, that's why I sit here now. And who knows what the hell he does. But yeah, always an interesting time when it comes to that kind of stuff. But wasn't there a Coldplay concert where it seemed like the upper management were really into what their people were doing? Yeah, you didn't hear about this out of Boston? Yeah, you should probably look it up. It's one of those things.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yeah, rated R Safety Show. There you go. Anyways, Wells Fargo has suspended all travel to China after one of its managing directors, who was born in Shanghai, but works in Atlanta, was issued an exit ban barring her from leaving the country. Chanel Mao likely entered China sometime in July based on her social media activity. Exit bans typically apply to visitors embroiled in civil litigation and business disputes. Mao specifically worked for the international commercial banking. The bank hasn't shared many specifics other than to say that it's closely tracking the situation and working through the appropriate channels so our employee can return to the United States as soon as possible. This is according to comments and quotes from the Wall Street Journal. Of course, you can look that up because the Journal likes to lock everything down the moment that you take a look. It's kind of interesting because I can get it to open through certain websites, or certain chains, but not others. But yeah, it's a nice little news story of stuff that's going on for sure.
Duh.
So there you go. What else do I have for you? A Wisconsin judge has signed off on a release plan for 22-year-old Morgan Geyser on Thursday. She's one of the two girls who nearly stabbed a classmate to death over a decade ago in a deranged tribute to a fictional character known as Slender Man. The release plan was proposed earlier this year after three experts testified that Geyser had made progress with her mental illness. It was then denied by prosecutors after concern over the location of Geyser's group home being located just miles from the victim. Changes have since been made, leading to its approval. Details of the plans and timing have not been shared. So just to give you some context, that is. What happened was in 2014, Geyser and Anissa Wheeler lured their victim into a nearby park during a sleepover and stabbed her 19 times. They were all only 12 at the time. Wheeler was released in 2021 after agreeing to live with her father and wear a GPS tracker. So this is according to WTMJ, according to what is going on. I mean, craziness when you start thinking about it. But yes, I understand that people go in and things change. Keep in mind, 12 years old. This is 11 years ago, give or take. So we're talking potentially 23 years of age. How much has changed? That's going to be the other question, of course, to talk about. Okay, take a listen to this. Singer Connie Francis has died. She passed away on Wednesday, according to her publicist. No cause of death was shared. Francis is best known for her hits Pretty Little Baby and Stupid Cupid. She was 87 at the time. Also, football player Brian Bremen has died. He passed away on Thursday after the battle of a rare form of cancer. Bremen, who played 6 seasons in the NFL, was part of the Eagles' Super Bowl team that won. And he was 38 at the time of his passing. Skydiver and daredevil Felix Baumgartner has died. In 2012, Felix made headlines when he jumped out of a helium balloon some 24 miles above Earth, setting the record for the highest manned balloon flight in the highest ever free fall. He died yesterday with a paragliding incident in Italy after losing control mid-flight and crashing into a swimming pool. An unnamed young woman was injured during the accident, but is expected to survive. He was 56 at the time of his passing. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. Take a listen to this. House Speaker Mike Johnson says that there's a strategy to pass the main components of what became the one big beautiful bill, where it worked over a year ago, well before President Trump retook office. In a podcast interview with the New York Post, Miranda Devine, Johnson said that he felt confident that the Republicans would take Congress and the White House in November's election, and tasked the committee during the 2024 caucus to retreat with laying the foundation of the once in a generation transformational legislation. He also added that the bill is just one component of a multi-year strategy to fix the national debt, acknowledging that the $1.5 trillion in savings from the bill are little more than well-intended good start. While the Congress figures out how to claw back money through the rescission bills, President Trump has his eyes on $4 billion for the federal government absolutely should not spend. The Federal Department of Transportation is withholding the amount from the state of California for its failure to make any progress over the last 17 years in the building of the high-speed rail system. As noted in this official statement, the $135 billion projected total cost of the project could buy every San Francisco and LA resident nearly 200 round-trip flights between the cities. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. That's for sure. I mean, let's not lie. Interesting stuff. Take a listen to this. The Dow gained about 229 points to close at 44,484 on Thursday. The S&P gained 33 points to close at 6,297, and the Nasdaq increased 153 points to close at 20,884. West Texas Intermediate closed at $67 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $69 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.16 on Thursday. Also, Bitcoin remained right around $119,000 on Thursday, and tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $100 million jackpot or $44.3 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $288 million jackpot or $130.6 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you definitely have the opportunity to do so. In some other news making the rounds, take a listen to this. Denise Richards has been granted a temporary restraining order against her estranged husband. Yeah, her estranged husband. What else? In her filing, Richards detailed several instances of alleged violent interaction that she had with Aaron, including him threatening to kill her and himself. She also shared photos of an incident from 2022, which he struck her in the face, leaving her with a black eye. The restraining order comes 2 weeks after Aaron filed for divorce following 6 years of marriage. In response, Aaron called the claim not true, saying that Richards is creating a story to save her image. This is according to Page 6. So there you go. Also, Ariana Grande is happy for her ex, Pete Davidson. Recent news about him expecting his first child with girlfriend Elsie Hewitt. She does know Elsie personally, but she doesn't know Elsie personally, better said. She believes that Pete is becoming a father is exactly what he needs in his life. She thinks that he'll be a great dad, and a source tells The Blast. Okay, I'm glad that we shared this info. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about this one, because this one, we haven't talked about them in a hot minute, which I'm kind of shocked. Blake Lively's deposition is ongoing with It Ends With Us legal battle has been pushed back to the end of the month. Insiders say that both sides, her and co-star Justin Baldoni, want more time to go over the case after the judge dismissed Lively's lawsuit against a Texas-based publicist this week. A trial on the case is still set for March of 2026. Like I told you, we're going to be talking about this shit for some time, is the way that it looks. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this one. A matter of fact, let me tell you. Let me tell you two of them. So we talked about this earlier. So let's go into it. A feature of Coldplay's latest tour is a Jumbotron song where towards the end of the show, the cameras show a fan or a couple And a frontman, Chris Martin, improvises a song about them on the spot. At their show on Wednesday night in Boston, that camera captured a man with his arms around a woman, but when they saw that they were on camera, they immediately ducked out of view. Turns out the guy, Andy Byron, is the wealthy CEO of a software company called Astronomer, currently worth about $1.3 billion, and the woman is the company's HR head, Kristen Cabot. Brian is very much married with children to a different woman. The crowd responded with laughter while frontman Chris Martin said, "Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're very shy." Neither have addressed the incident publicly, but that's bullshit because they have addressed it publicly since this came out. But yeah, I think it's interesting on how the Andy Byron guy is talking about, some of the stuff that came out, and that it was a personal moment while he's there at this concert and didn't appreciate to some extent being outed. Well, no shit. You shouldn't probably be having an affair. And if you're going to be having an affair, well, you probably have issues. That's a whole other story that we can talk about. And you probably shouldn't be going out in public. Just a general thought. And of course, there's video, because why would there not be video of shit? Because that's what we do around here. So let's not worry too much, and let's see if we can take a gander at some of this stuff. Because who doesn't want to do that? So let's see if we can get you into a preview little window over here. And let's take a look-see of what we got. Let's take a gander. Is there no sound? I guess there's no sound. Well, that doesn't do us a lot of good. Or am I muted? I don't know. Oh, I'm muted is what it is. Let's go back. And yeah. So there you go. Easily caught. So that's what happens, ladies and gems. There you go. Some interesting stuff as we are talking. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out. Remember, Freeform Friday, so it's plethora of news day.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Donald Trump's accusing the Wall Street Journal of fabricating a letter it says he wrote to paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The president says he will sue the paper, which published documents dating back to the early 2000s. The journal says one appears to feature a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman. President Trump, meanwhile, says he's ordered the U.S. Justice Department to produce additional documents related to the late financier. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is criticising a Wall Street Journal story suggesting the captain of the flight that crashed last month may have turned off the plane's fuel control switches. A preliminary report released last week found that seconds after takeoff, the plane's switches went from run to cut off, stalling the plane's ascent. All but one passenger on board the London-bound Air India flight died in the crash. Neha Punia reports from New Delhi.
The Indian agency that conducted the preliminary probe into last month's Air India crash has said the investigation is still underway. It's called the Wall Street Journal's reporting, quote, unverified and selective, saying it's too early to jump to conclusions. The Wall Street Journal, citing an assessment by US officials, is claiming that the black box recording indicated that the captain of the flight may have turned off the fuel control switches, and that when fuel to the plane's engines was cut off, the captain sounded calm, but the first officer was panicking. Pilot bodies in India have also hit out at these claims, saying the preliminary report did not lay the blame on the pilots. Neha Punia, New Delhi.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is describing as heartbreaking the death of a child in a school coach crash in Somerset. 60 children and adults were travelling back from a school trip when it happened near Minehead, injuring many. Reporter Andy Ballantyne is there.
To give you an idea of the scale of the emergency, 20 double-crewed ambulances, 3 air ambulances, a command team and 2 hazardous response teams, 8 fire engines with 60 personnel were all sent to this area. 21 children and adults in total were taken to hospital, including 2 children who were taken to hospital via air ambulance.
More than 5,000 people in South Korea have been forced into shelters as heavy rain pounds parts of the country for a third day. At least 4 people have been killed, with authorities warning the unseasonal deluge will continue. Laura Westbrook reports.
Among those killed were 2 men in their 80s. Authorities believe one of them was trying to drain floodwaters from the basement of his home. A driver was also killed after a 10-metre-high roadside wall collapsed onto his car. More than 400 millimetres of rain poured down in just half a day in Seosan, the worst affected city along South Korea's west coast. The weather agency described it as a once-in-a-century event.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. India is praising the US designating the TRF group as a terrorist organisation, calling it a strong affirmation of India-US counter-terror ties. The Resistance Front has claimed responsibility for the terror attack in Kashmir that killed 26 civilians in April. Ishan Garg reports.
India's Minister of External Affairs has thanked the US for this step. An official statement from the ministry says the designation of TRF is a timely and important step reflecting the deep cooperation between India and the United States on counter-terrorism. It comes after the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced TRF's inclusion in foreign terrorist organization and specially designated global terrorist lists. He said it's part of President Donald Trump's commitment towards protecting national security interests and enforcing his calls for justice for the victims of the terror attack. The April 22nd attack was the worst terror strike to hit India in the past 2 decades, and officials are still continuing their hunt for the perpetrators. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
Donald Trump's denying he plans to fire the head of the US Central Bank, Jerome Powell. The president's reportedly drafted a letter of termination for the Fed Reserve chairman, but he's walking back claims he was planning to let him go. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
US President Donald Trump has said it's highly unlikely he will fire the head of the US Central Bank. Stock markets and the dollar slipped on reports that he'd broached the idea with Republicans on Tuesday, but they quickly bounced back after he downplayed the discussions. It would be a major break with precedent for a president to dismiss the chair of the Federal Reserve. Mr. Trump's called on Mr. Powell to lower US interest rates in a series of highly critical outbursts. On Wednesday, the president called him a knucklehead and claimed he was doing a lousy job. Kate Fisher, Washington.
That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Jay Allen in the morning, weekdays on Radio Big.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author Jay Allen, PhD. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, here we are, 44 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out, doing our thing. No doubt about that. Rattle My Cage going on behind me. Yeah, this is Saints of Valerie. You're still hanging out here listening to the Rated R Safety Show. songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Give it a little streamer-eamer action if you are so inclined to do so. No doubt about that. So let me go ahead and cut that off. Thanks to Saints of Valerie for allowing us to play this here. So a couple things. Number one, the most important part of the whole show is this right here. Let me tell you about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms, because it's so important what they have to tell you. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Our Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. To find out more information, TWLOHA.com, TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. And once you get there, you will see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. So I want to share this real quick before we get into anything else, because I think it's interesting. So as we have been discussing, breaking news, CBS to cancel The Late Show with Stephen Colbert next season. So Maria Shriver, Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-wife, CBS, here's what she had to post. She said, CBS announced it tonight that they are canceling The Late Show with Stephen Colbert after next season's starting. That was purely financial decision. Colbert said that the show, of the taping on Thursday, that he found out about the show cancellation a day earlier. In response to the studio audience booing, Colbert said, "Yeah, I share the feeling." Now, CBS is owned by Paramount, which is in the midst of an $8 billion merger with Skydance. The deal has been delayed for months as President Trump filed a suit with CBS-owned 60 Minutes. On July the 2nd, Paramount agreed to settle the suit and pay Trump $16 million. But on his show, airing on CBS, as well as streaming on Paramount Plus, Colbert criticized the settlement between Paramount and Trump, calling it a big fat bribe. While we may never know if the cancellation was politically motivated, we should be asking these questions. News organizations, journalists, and everybody or everyday people should be able to speak the truth, to report facts, as Stephen Colbert has often make sense of the news through humor. Do we want to live in a country where we silence people? Is that America that you want to live in? I have appreciated and loved the work that Stephen has done, and regardless of the reason, his work will be missed when his show goes off the air. In the meantime, I'll be tuning in above the noise. So this is what she had to say. What do you think about the whole thing? It's pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Timing is essential when it comes to certain things, but hey, it makes things pretty interesting, and controversy will always be out there in regards to what people are going to think. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some movies that are coming out today. Smurfs comes out rated PG when Papa Smurf and mysteriously is taken into by the evil wizard Gargamel. Smurfette leads the Smurfs onto a mission in the real world to save him. So that comes out today. Also, I Know What You Did Last Summer, rated R, when 5 friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident when they make a pact to keep the secret rather than face the consequences, but their past comes back to haunt them. That comes out today. And also Eddington. In a small town of Eddington, New Mexico, during the COVID-19 pandemic, a standoff between a sheriff and a mayor sparks a powder keg, pitting neighbors against neighbors. That comes out today as well. It's a comedy rated R, so there you go. What else do I have for you? What love got to do with $1 million? It doesn't say much love, but according to a new survey, nearly half of us, 43%, would end their romantic relationship for $1 million. Figure that. In many cities, barely buys a decent house, but it doesn't stop there. A new survey by Canadian site God Blizzard, 40% of Americans said that they would gladly accept $33 million gift, even if it meant someone else would be financially ruined. Another 46% considered it depending on who was getting destroyed. The poll revealed that we are surprisingly comfortable with the idea of putting price on loyalty, compassion, and even safety. Nearly half of 46% said that they enter a real-life squid-style game competition for a shot at $1 million, despite the fictional game 99.8% fatality rate. Other eye-raising surveys say the following. 41% would give up sex for $1 million. 15% said they would frame a friend for a crime for $1 million. 13% said they would embarrass themselves publicly for $5,000 or less. 10% would reject money if they couldn't tell anyone about it. 57% would quit their jobs after a windfall. And 84% said that they would donate to charity after a windfall. I wouldn't do the Squid Game money thing unless it pays off my student loans, then maybe. And honestly, I've embarrassed myself for free, and $500 sounds like a raise when it's all said and done. Have you not listened to this damn show? I mean, come on, man. Let's keep it real when it's all said and done, when it comes to all that stuff. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's story was submitted by Gary. At a college reunion, a professor brought a large pot of coffee and a tray full of cups. None of them matched. Some were fine porcelain, others plain ceramic, a few chipped glass mugs. One even looked like it came out of a diner. Once everybody had coffee in hand, the professor said, "Notice what just happened. Most of you instinctively reach for the nicest cups, leaving behind the simple ones. The cup does not make the coffee taste any better. Life is the coffee, but your job, your house, your income, your status, those are just cups. The trouble is, the more we focus on the cup, the more we miss out on the coffee. Enjoy your life."
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Lyndon Johnson's Great Society was a grand idea that failed. Why? Because our relationship to the poor must be guided not only by compassion, but also by Scripture. When we give people a handout rather than a hand up, we create dependency and a sense of entitlement. Rather than helping them achieve personal independence, we have locked them into a cycle of poverty. Leviticus 23:22 says, "When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your land. Leave them for the poor." Lord Jesus, grant us both wisdom and compassion. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
In Gaza, a tragic incident at a food distribution site left at least 21 people dead yesterday morning. The chaos erupted when guards used tear gas, sparking a deadly stampede among desperate Palestinians waiting for aid.
Survivors reported that the tear gas caused widespread panic, leading to at least 15 deaths from the stampede alone. One resident described the dire situation, highlighting the closure of aid crossings and the struggle to access essentials like milk for children. The incident has intensified calls for better management of humanitarian aid in the region. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In India, the Supreme Court has eased bail conditions for Ashoka University professor Ali Khan Mahmoodabad. He is now permitted to write articles and opinions, except on matters still under judicial review.
The decision follows his arrest earlier this year, with the court ruling on July 16, 2025, to relax restrictions imposed on May 18th. This allows Mahmoodabad to resume some professional activities while his case continues. The ruling has sparked discussions about academic freedom in India. Chris Anderson reporting.
The largest ever Talisman Sabre military exercise is underway, drawing attention from global powers. The drills hosted at Shoalwater Bay involve South Korean and U.S. forces, among others.
The biennial exercise, which began on July 14th, 2025, aims to strengthen military coordination among allied nations. It includes advanced maneuvers like tank operations and is expected to run for several days. Observers note the drills may signal a response to regional tensions, particularly with China.
This is the latest news headlines.
In Washington, D.C., Capitol Police detained a man carrying guns and a bow and arrow in his vehicle today.
The incident occurred along Pennsylvania Avenue, near the U.S. Capitol. Charges are pending as authorities investigate the man's intentions. The discovery of the weapons prompted a swift response from law enforcement. No injuries were reported during the detainment. Liam White reporting.
In Arizona, Adelita Grijalva won the Democratic special congressional primary to replace her late father, Raul Grijalva.
The primary was held to fill the vacant seat in Arizona's 7th congressional district. Raul Grijalva passed away in March 2025 due to complications from cancer treatment. Adelita will face Republican Daniel Gutierrez in the special election set for September. The outcome will determine who serves the remainder of the term. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A search continues for 58-year-old James Ventura Dominguez after a boat capsized on Flathead Lake in Texas.
2 other passengers were rescued and treated for hypothermia. The incident occurred on July 15th, 2025, and Dominguez remains missing. Authorities are intensifying efforts to locate him in the lake's cold waters. The Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Agency is assisting in the operation. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, it is. So there you go. So let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2013, Detroit, Michigan files for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. The debt is $2.9 billion in government bond debt. And then $5.9 billion in Detroit Water and Sewage Department debt, $3.5 billion in underfunded pension liability, $5.7 billion on underfunded retiree health and care liability. It is the largest municipal bankruptcy filing in U.S. history with over $18 billion owed. Also, Detroit is the largest city by population to file for bankruptcy in the U.S. That happened back on this date in 2013. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Canelo Alvarez turns 35, Mandy Rose 35, James Norton and Chance Crawford both turn 40. Let's see, Kristen Bell turns 45, Jason Weaver 46, Kelly Riley turns 48, Elsa Pataski turns 49, MIA turns 50, so does Darren Malanke. Sarah McLeod turns 54. Vin Diesel turns 58. Wendy Williams, 61. Margot Montenedale turns 74. Richard Branson, 75. And James Brolin turns 85 today. So that's some birthdays for you. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have one of those for you. It's World Listening Day today, in case you're looking. Anyways, in case you did not know, let's see. September the 9th through the 11th, Conklin Conference 4. Would love to see you there. We'll be talking about the world of human and organizational performance. We'll be hanging out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jen T. Long, Andrea Baker, and Mike Yeston. It'll be 3 days covering human and organizational performance. Would love to see you there. No, would love to see you there the 9th through the 11th. To find out more information, you can actually scan that QR code if you're looking on the screener. If not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on live events, and that will tell you some information on what is going on right there. Okay, if you need a rando ando for today, let's go ahead and give you one of those because those are always important. It goes like this. Shark Week is actually the best time to go to the beach because all the sharks are busy on TV. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What would you try, or what country would you most likely visit? Let's try it that way. What else? 37% of people agree this. Men should be banned from wearing this during the summer. What is it? A Hawaiian shirt. So there you go. Anyways, that is it. I will not be here next week. We will be doing Memory Lane all week next week. So just FYI. So if I can leave you with a deep thought, here it is. Happiness often sneaks in through the door you didn't know that you had left open. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.